Echoes of Time. Taylor and Jordan stumbled upon a strange relic in their small town, half buried in the woods, its metallic surface glinting under the late afternoon sun. As Taylor brushed off the dirt, an eerie hum resonated from the relic, sending a jolt of energy through their fingers and filling the air with a pulsing warmth. Suddenly, the forest around them blurred, and when their vision cleared, they found themselves in a city that felt familiar yet strikingly foreign. The buildings towered above them in impossible shapes, merging old-fashioned stonework with futuristic metal and glass structures that defied gravity. Taylor realized that this parallel world mirrored their own, but as they looked closer, they noticed subtle shifts in architecture and technology. A group of uniformed people hurried past, their attire blending medieval armor with high-tech gadgets, as if different eras had collided. Jordan's instinct was to hide, but Taylor grabbed his arm, whispering excitedly about the chance to explore a world where history unfolded differently. Venturing further, they encountered a street divided by an invisible line, where people seemed to live by entirely separate, conflicting sets of laws. On one side, individuals followed strict, ancient customs; on the other, they embraced wild, futuristic innovations that clashed with tradition. As they continued, a group of children noticed them and began to whisper, pointing at their clothes, clearly identifying them as outsiders. The hum of the relic in Taylor's pocket grew stronger, as if reacting to the presence of these people and the peculiar energy of the city. Soon, a woman approached them, her voice resonating with authority, saying they had arrived just as the alignment of times was near. Taylor and Jordan were led to an enormous hall where representatives from various timelines were engaged in heated debates. The hall's walls were lined with historical symbols from every era, each illuminating briefly as voices echoed louder within. Taylor listened in awe as people argued over which era's values should guide the future, with no clear solution in sight. Jordan leaned toward Taylor, noting that their arrival might have disrupted the balance, sparking the tension in this fragile society. As if on cue, the relic in Taylor's pocket glowed brightly, attracting the attention of everyone in the room with its unearthly light. One of the representatives, a man from a timeline where peace had reigned for centuries, asked them where they had come from. Taylor, unable to hold back, shared that they were from a world untouched by this division, where history was singular and linear. Gasps filled the room as the representatives speculated on how their choices could influence both worlds in unforeseen ways. The relic emitted a flash, momentarily transporting Taylor and Jordan into a vision of their own world, but filled with eerie echoes of conflict. They saw their town divided, friends and families separated by invisible walls of ideology, each stubbornly rooted in a different time. When the vision faded, Taylor realized that this was not merely a glimpse, but a warning of what could happen if timelines collided. A council elder approached them, explaining that each timeline here was on the verge of collapse, a direct reflection of unresolved conflicts. Jordan insisted they must find a way to bring peace, or at least stability, to this fractured society before it spiraled out of control. Taylor suggested using the relic's power to communicate with each timeline's leaders, hoping they could find common ground. They spent days navigating through these divided realms, each visit revealing more about how history could have diverged in countless ways. In one timeline, they met a leader whose society had thrived by adapting ancient wisdom to modern life, striking a perfect balance. In another, the world was decaying, ravaged by endless technological progress with no regard for the values of the past. With each conversation, Taylor and Jordan gathered pieces of a complex puzzle, realizing that compromise was the only path to harmony. But as they worked, the relic's energy began to weaken, making each leap between timelines more unpredictable and risky. One night, Taylor noticed faint echoes of themselves appearing in the relic's glow, as if communicating with their own past choices. These echoes revealed subtle moments where a small decision led to significant changes, influencing the entire course of events. Jordan realized that they might be able to use these echoes to alter certain pivotal moments, steering each timeline towards unity. With careful planning, they started implementing minor adjustments in each realm, nudging decisions that prevented future conflict. They convinced a scientist in one timeline to adopt traditional values, and a ruler in another to embrace technological innovations. As they worked, Taylor felt the weight of each decision, knowing that one misstep could unravel everything they had achieved. In one realm, a rebellion sparked, but they managed to quell it by showing leaders a vision of what unity could achieve. Their influence began to create ripple effects, and slowly, the once chaotic society began to show signs of cohesion and understanding. With every successful adjustment, the relic's glow strengthened, as if the balance of the timelines was restoring its ancient power. But just as they neared their goal, a faction from a timeline that thrived on conflict decided to resist their efforts, threatening war. Taylor and Jordan faced the faction leader, explaining that the conflict would destroy all timelines, not just their own. The leader hesitated, haunted by the vision of a shattered world, and reluctantly agreed to negotiate, sensing the gravity of the situation. As the negotiations unfolded, Taylor and Jordan realized that true peace required more than minor adjustments, it needed genuine trust. To gain that trust, they allowed the factions to see the echoes, revealing their past choices and the consequences that followed. This transparency fostered empathy, as each faction saw themselves in the mistakes and triumphs of others, bridging gaps of time. Gradually, the representatives of each timeline came together, acknowledging that collaboration was the only path forward. In one last, resonant glow, the relic connected all timelines, weaving a harmonious tapestry of histories without erasing any. With the balance restored, the hall filled with a peaceful silence as each representative vowed to protect this newfound unity. Taylor and Jordan felt a pull back to their world, the relic sensing their task was complete and ready to return them home. As they left, they saw the city transform, its architecture melding seamlessly into a blend of eras, each one honoring the other. Back in their town, they found the relic's energy waning, its once vibrant glow fading as they returned it to its resting place. They knew they couldn't share their story with others, but their world now felt more interconnected, brimming with untapped potential. Taylor spent hours reflecting on how every decision, however small, carried ripples that extended far beyond their world. Jordan, practical as always, reminded them to value every moment, aware that time was not merely linear, but deeply interwoven. They returned to their lives with a profound understanding that unity required more than agreement, it demanded respect for differences. The relic, buried once again, seemed to pulse faintly as if acknowledging their journey and the wisdom they had gained. The friends walked away, carrying the echoes of a world that, for one brief moment, showed them the beauty of collaboration across time. In the end, they realized that even without the relic, they had the power to shape their world, one choice at a time, with purpose.